The power of love is a curious thing. Make a one man weep, make another man sing. Changing the hawk to a little white dove. More than a feeling, that's the power of love. It's strong and it's cruel. What has my life become? I'm just alone in the garage, screaming Huey Lewis lyrics to myself. This is sad. Marty! Today on Back to the Future! Oh my god, it's half Donald Duck. What is that? Like all humans with a soul on Earth, I'm a big fan of the Back to the Future franchise. There is just something so goddamn perfect about them. And that's not even really fair. There's not just something about them that's perfect. There's a lot of things that go into making them so perfect. Robert Zemeckis is, of course, at his apex here, in my opinion, for one. Bob Gale and Robert's script is on point. The look, the feel, the design of the car is, of course, paramount. But I think that the cast is really just exceptional, and maybe that's the most important thing that makes this movie perfect. And it's, to me, a rarity that this cast could come together for a major Hollywood film. Yeah, some of these people were reasonably well known, but this is a cast, really, of character actors. There's no massive, bankable leading talent in this thing that a studio today could get behind and say, yep, we're gonna make the movie, we're gonna put the money involved, right? And actually, I have a hunch that if you were to peel that back a bit, it would be the driving feature that makes people have an affection for 80s movies. I think that the thing that people like about 80s movies is that by and large, they are populated by character actors as opposed to leads. I'll break it down. You've got Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, who at that point was mainly known for a character on Taxi.
Mental illness or narcotic addiction?
That's a tough choice.
Crispin Glover, who had done some TV mainly by that point. River's Edge, a movie he's somewhat famous for, was not until a year later with Keanu Reeves. Leah Thompson, Be Still My Heart, was in Red Dawn a year before and might make her the biggest name here in this movie. Claudia Wells as Jennifer had done some parts in a few TV shows, and James Tolkien as Principal Strickland was a veteran character actor from television and film. Thomas F. Wilson had, I think, 3 TV episodes prior to Back to the Future, and boy, he really captures the essence of, well, I mean, who can say directly who they were looking at for inspiration there?
I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like...
And then, of course, Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly. Michael was their first choice for this movie. The one cast member who was actually not available originally due to contract requirements of Family Ties, the show that he was on.
This is a travesty. This is a sin against capitalism.
So for 3 weeks, they actually shot with Eric Stoltz. And there's footage of that out there, and it's really hard to imagine this movie working with Eric Stoltz. I like Eric Stoltz a lot. I just don't think the movie works with Eric Stoltz. It is crazy seeing that footage, how big a deal that casting choice makes for this movie. I mean, it's night and day, major blockbuster hit, and not, you know. For what it's worth, I think there's still a couple of shots of Eric Stoltz in the movie, by the way. I'm pretty sure that there's some shots of Marty's feet in the beginning, in the title sequence. That might be Eric Stoltz, although that might also just be a double. But Thomas F. Wilson is fairly certain that they never reshot this punch. So that's Eric Stoltz.
I have done Back to the Future 3 already, because Wake Up Juice is just kind of sitting there begging for me to cover it. So if you missed that, there's a link right below me. Today, I want to take a look at Back to the Future's Parts 1 and 2, and I do think that they really need to be considered together.
So in Part 2, we see a version of Hill Valley where Biff is ascendant. Very much kind of a take on Pottersville from It's a Wonderful Life. And, oh, hey, I did an episode on that one too, and like hardly anybody watched it.
Hold on 1 second, let's get this straight. Marty is your kid, not mine.
Things are not going so great for the first lady, Lorraine. She reaches for a bottle of J&B and pours herself a slug. I'm thinking that's got to be her brand of choice, despite all these other bottles in that tastefully decorated nightmare at the top of Biff Towers. All right. I really should just stop being coy about it. And anyway, it's not even a fair comparison. I mean, by the looks of it, Biff's Casino is financially solvent and doing brisk trade. Now, Lorraine, who would never ride in a car with a boy or have a drink with a boy, I like to think that when she's not party to her husband beating the crap out of her son, she has time to be a bit craftier with her drink. So I'm going to call this drink Lorraine's Sour Taste of Disappointment.
I need my shaker. Shaker! I need a half an ounce of simple syrup. I want a half an ounce of lemon juice.
I like this. I lost a lemon. Lemon got away from me. Half an ounce of peach brandy here. This is Orchard Peach. It's a Rothman and Winter peach liqueur made from real peaches. Tastes like peach. It is quite nice. Half an ounce of this. I sure hope the sound is still recording. And now I want 2 ounces of our J&B. Blended Scotch. Rare old blend. This was the smallest bottle I could find. A little ice. What is this? I think I've got a bar spoon handy, do I? Works too. Strain that out. And a garnish? Maybe. She might. Maybe she gets crafty, throw a cherry in there, but I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't. And there we have a glass of Lorraine's Sour Disappointment. I rather like that. Oh, that's nice. There's a really interesting interplay in the flavor profile there between the smokiness of the Scotch, which has a little smoke. Not like an Isla or something like that, but a little smoke. And the peach, they really play fun together.
Otherwise, it's a very well-balanced sour. No complaints at all.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, that's great. That's really good. It's a fun drink. It has some leathery notes in there that I think is quite nice as well. Yeah, totally not brilliant, but trying to keep it in character, you know?
It feels right to me that she would throw those things together. A little lemon, squeeze a lemon, a little peach schnapps.
A little sugar, maybe, and some Scotch. I like it a lot. I think it's delicious. And there's like a really unusual, sort of surprising turn in the profile there when the Scotch becomes kind of dominant. And you get like that Scotchy, smoky, leathery thing. That's a great drink. Now there's another drink in this series that is of paramount importance to the very existence of Marty McFly. Up next. So 1955, Enchantment Under the Sea dance. And spoilers alert! I've already alerted you once, I'm alerting you again. There are spoilers. Here are the spoilers. 3, 2, 1, spoilers on. Okay, so 1955, Enchantment Under the Sea dance. We need, absolutely must have, George McFly sweep Lorraine off her feet at the dance to win her love and affection, or else Marty McFly can never be born, which would set off a time paradox where this movie could never even exist, and which would be terrible because then neither could this episode of How to Drink. Marty and George work up a plot to have George rescue Lorraine from Marty, and it goes badly awry when Biff tries to grab her by I already broke my promise, I'm sorry. And George finds his nerve. Or did he? Because moments before, George was running down the clock, slugging Punch at the dance, and now in part 1, we don't know this, but in part 2, we get to see none other than Biff, Biff Jr., and Eric spiking the Punch with, of all things, early times whiskey. I bought some for this episode. I couldn't get it in that nice retro-looking glass bottle. I had to settle for this giant plastic jug. First things first, I need to make some 1955 appropriate non-alcoholic party punch. And this is admittedly not my area of expertise, though I did do some research on it previously when I made Monica's Tiki Death Punch, link below. Some of you mid-century punch aficionados are thinking this is going to almost certainly involve frozen grocery store sherbet, but I'm skipping that here for 2 reasons. The first is that a sherbet punch develops these huge billowy clouds of floating sherbet fluff, and this punch is loaded into a fountain, so it should be foaming up even more so. But that's not actually what we see in the film. It's flat, right? Additionally, it looks like, as far as I've been able to find at least, that the sherbet punch thing is more of a late 60s, early 70s thing, not a 50s thing. So I dug through all the period-appropriate 1950s party punch recipes I could find, and spoiler alert, they're all on fucking Pinterest, like 30 pages of Pinterest stuff. I couldn't get anywhere but Pinterest on these searches. They mainly involve blending together soft drinks, maybe a fresh fruit juice here and there. And I'm gonna give the Hill Valley High Organizing and Dance and Yearbook Committee the benefit of the doubt here and assume that they were working from fresh ingredients. It's California. It's 50s. Tiki is ascendant. Hawaii is going to become a state in 4 years. And anyway, we gain nothing by assuming they weren't, so let's just go with it. So let's make some Enchantment Under the Sea Party Punch, non-alcoholic. I'm going to mix a small, like, single or double serving here in this. I'll give measurements for scaling this up to a gallon, or maybe like a 2-gallon thing. I think that guava is important to that. Now, I couldn't get fresh guava, but this stuff does taste pretty good. It does have high fructose corn syrup and sweeteners and stabilizers in it, but it's okay. If you get fresh guava, that's fine. You'd have to rebalance the drink probably, and I'm not entirely sure how, but we want 3 ounces of this. Or you could say 3 parts. I really like this. Smells tart. It's very pleasant. By the 50s, guava was already being grown in Florida. Hawaii was a popular vacation destination, and I think the predecessor to Pog juice, passion fruit orange juice, guava, was already being drunk in Hawaii. Tiki was a thing. I don't think it's crazy that they would be using guava at all. I really don't. I want 2 ounces of orange juice, and speaking of Pog juice, you might notice that that's kind of what we're doing. Hawaiian Punch, I think that hit the market in 1933. Kind of meant to be an artificial, sort of artificial version of Pog. And also Pogs, by the way, come from the Pog caps. So that's already on the market by the 30s. And the punch that we see at the party is this color red. So I think that's probably what it was. I think they were probably using Hawaiian Punch. What we're doing is making a better version of Hawaiian Punch as our base. I'll juice this orange. And so I want 2 ounces of fresh orange juice. If you want to go with the stuff in a box, you know, like regular orange juice, I suppose you could, but fresher is better. Boy, I'm really just a disaster today. Okay, now I want 1 ounce of passion fruit juice. Now, passion fruits can be pretty tricky to get. I was trying to get fresh passion fruit from my grocery store and they were out. But then I found out that in their freezer section, they have bags of frozen passion fruit that you can take home, and I would say blend it, but you don't even have to blend it. It's just juice, really, because there's not much. Passion fruit's a weird thing inside. So all I did was thaw out what was in the bag of passion fruit, these little cubes, and that's it. My grocery store is Whole Foods because the pandemic, and they deliver. So if there's a Whole Foods near you, you can order this online and have it delivered. And I'll tell you what, I've tasted it. It's fucking fantastic. This is the way I'm doing passion fruit from now on. It's on the money, you know. It's passion fruit. It's really tart, almost vomit-like tasting, in a good way. Really, really tart and fresh, and it's just frozen passion fruit, so why wouldn't it be? 1 ounce of this. Passion fruit is an extremely potent flavor. It will, you know, a 3-to-1 ratio, so if you're paying attention, right? It's 3 parts guava, 2 parts orange juice, 1 part passion fruit. That's what worked good for me. Okay, so we got our fruit juices in there. I think we want to do 1 ounce of simple syrup to just kick the sweetness up a little bit. And certainly the kids in 1955 would have, probably more so. They would have been working from soft drinks, etc. So I'm just going to go with 1 ounce of sweetener. This is 2-to-1. And 3 ounces of club soda. Now, 1, this is going to taste good. And 2, this matches, other than that immediate foam, which will fade, this really matches the look of what I think we see in the movie. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to pour myself a glass right now. Yeah. It's delicious. It's really nice. That is lovely. It is sweet, but not too sweet, but pleasant. Fruity, citrusy, tropical. The guava passion fruit orange juice combo really play well together. Who knew? I mean, the Hawaiian people knew a lot. And actually the effervescence from the club soda lengthens and lightens it and makes it very, very nice. This is not like drinking nectar or anything like that. This is not thick or syrupy. This is a very pleasant and enjoyable fruit punch. However, let's spike it. I think, first off, we got my early times here. You know, it's 1.75 in plastic. That is fine quality. I think that, you know, how spiked would it be, right? I think an ounce of bourbon to a serving. Maybe 2 ounces. That goes great in there. Oh, wow. It really accentuates the peanuts of the bourbon. That's amazing. The guava and the sweetness and the fruitness, it tastes like chocolate-covered fucking peanuts. That's delicious. It's ridiculously good. Biff knew what was up. I stand corrected. I came down hard on Biff before. Guy really was a master mixologist. He knew what he was doing. So here's the thing, though. That's great for both non-alcoholic Enchantment Under the Sea punch and a spiked version of that punch. Not really the same thing, though, as a cocktail. I want to actually make a cocktail that I'm calling George McFly's Dutch Courage, a Biff Stiffener, a Marty Maker. Let's call it a Marty Maker. So we're going to make a Marty Maker. It's so bad. It's terrible. Inspired by that spiked punch from the 1955 Enchantment Under the Sea party. Oh my God, a Marty Maker. What's wrong with me? All right, we're going to shake this drink. You could build it over like a rock, but I'm shaking it. It's 2 ounces of guava juice, guava nectar. Very pink, lovely color. 1/3 of an ounce of passion fruit juice. 1/2 ounce of simple. Two ounces of early times bourbon. You can find it in a nicer bottle. Use that. I guess it doesn't matter. I just feel so stupid using this thing. Okay. Clean up your bar space because it's a disaster now if you're like me. So it's we've taken the punch from before, omitted the orange juice and the seltzer because we don't need it, right? I'm gonna crack some ice into my shaker. That'll work. I'm gonna actually do a gated to open pour. So what I want to do is I want to just basically let a lot of the ice go into this double old fashioned. I think this drink, serve it over the ice you shook it over. Garnish it with, I don't know, I say go with the full 50s here. I got a little paper umbrella and a cocktail sword, a couple cherries. Just go nuts, you know? Whoa, that could have been a catastrophe. If that had slipped off, it would be really bad. I like that drink. That even looks like George McFly to me in a lot of ways. George McFly's Dutch Courage. Here we go. I really like that. I like that drink a lot. That belongs on a menu at a tiki restaurant. Tiki bar. That's really good. Okay, so early times whiskey is peanutty as hell, it turns out. At least when you pair it up with guava. What's it taste like on its own? Yeah, a little peanutty, but the guava really brings it out. That is unreal. It just, oh yeah, there's like a peanut heavy finish. I didn't know I liked a plastic jug whiskey, but I do. Fuck. It has a beautiful peanut taste. The peanuts pair so well with the guava and passion fruit. It's a real, like, you know, if I told you, hey, you know what goes well together? Peanuts, passion fruit, and guava. You would never, you'd be thinking it was out of my mind. But I'm telling you, they go together really well. You get this lovely sweet guava opening that quickly turns into passion fruit, which is tart. I'm going to say citrusy, but it's not really citrusy, but it's because it's passion fruit. That takes over. And then that melds into this third flavor that is honestly chocolatey and peanutty. This is a really fun drink. I was considering using cinnamon syrup in this. That's why I have cinnamon syrup out, made a batch. I think it'd be very good with cinnamon syrup. But I don't think it's necessary. This is so good. Ooh, it's so good. It's not supremely complex, but it's a very tasty drink. It's not too sweet. It has this real tropical thing that pairs shockingly well with bourbon going on. I think it kind of captures the essence of tiki. I also think that it captures the essence of George McFly. I don't know why, but the umbrella, cherries, and sword, and the flavor of it too, all feel on right for me. That inventive, free spirit, that science fiction author, that weird kid, you know? I think that it is that. It's a weird kid of a drink. And it is accurate, I think, to what would have been in that punch bowl if that punch bowl had been spiked. If the punch bowl had been first populated the way it would have been populated in 1955, and then spiked with early times, and then you were going to make I mean, that's what I did. But they make a cocktail based on it. I think we did all of that. Frankly, I don't know if I can get enough of it. It's so good. No, in my mouth. This is what I think is so fun about it, and both of these. It has elements of a sour without relying on lemon or lime juice. It is in that space, but unfamiliar and different and a bit out of your normal comfort zone. Maybe an overstatement, but outside of your normal experience because there's no lemon or lime. So it's a sour, sort of, kinda. It's in that little bit of that flavor space, but it doesn't taste like any sour I think I've ever had. I'm into this. This is really great. I'm glad I bought a bunch of cans of these for the purposes of making this episode, because now I've got them. And I've got like 3 liters of early times bourbon. All right. So be it. That's the power of love, guys. That's the power of love. Awesome. Well, hey, I'm on, if you want more garbage like this, I'm on Twitch at twitch.tv/Greg from HED. I do live stuff from the bar. I make cocktails. I talk with you. I give unwanted advice. I play video games. We're doing tabletop role-playing games with some friends of mine. Cyberpunk currently, which is exciting. I'm on Twitter at how2drink with a number in the middle. I'm on Instagram at how2drink with a number in the middle. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/howtodrink. And much to my surprise, much of this episode is going to live over there. So if you like seeing parts that don't make it to the regular episode, swing by my Patreon. If you're interested in the live portions of the show, like from Twitch, but you can't make it, that stuff all winds up on a new channel called H2D2. And you can check that out. Why don't you check that out? I'm obligated to tell you that you should like and subscribe and comment and all that fucking crap. But honestly, if you like the show, I hope that you will check out some of these other episodes. And check out actually my other Back to the Future episode when I did Wake Up Juice. Check out, I've done a lot of movies, I've done a lot of video games. I have been doing this show for a while. There's a lot of episodes of How to Drink, so I hope that you will check them out and enjoy my show. Thank you so much. I drank a bit today. A bit more than I was expecting to, so it seems that I have become drunk. Or at least a little bit inebriated. There's some more of that spiky bit. That's the power of love!